But that does bring up like another thing, and we've talked about this as something that we feel like is important for us to share with other people, was that we both took for granted that getting pregnant was easy and would just kind of happen, or we could wait as long as we wanted. What do you think you learned about prioritizing our careers and kind of time instead of starting this process earlier?
It wasn't just that. I think there were more pieces to it than that. But if we focus on that aspect of it.
Well, you can talk about whatever pieces you want. I know that I just didn't know if it was important. Didn't know if it was going to be something I wanted to do. Didn't think that it was an important component of life.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Your listeners all want our like marriage issues, but I would keep asking you like, are you ready to do 50% of the work? And you would say no, and I would get mad. And so then we wouldn't talk about it for another 2 years. And so then we just kept postponing it. I think I also looked around in my first career and saw moms that were really stressed and that were struggling between managing their work expectations and wanting their career to excel and getting to spend the time with their kids they wanted to. And so I knew I wanted to make a change if we were going to have a family. And that process of making a change took a really long time. And so I think the effort required to make a change to have the life that I love, that I have now, would have been really hard now that we have Violet. If I would have been trying to take that on as well, I doubt that I would have done that until she would have been older. And at that point, I don't know what decisions I'd make. So I'm still glad that I chose to make a career change before she came into our lives. But like all the years of the process of making that change, I do wish we wouldn't have waited.
I mean, I talk with young men about it when they say, "Oh, we got married," and I don't bring it up, in an uncouth way. But if we start talking about having kids or starting a family, I am the first one to tell them, like, "Hey, one of the big mistakes I made was thinking you can just wait." Right. But there is a real thing, a biological clock, and there are real challenges that come with being an older parent, whether it's either getting pregnant, staying pregnant, or even then just how tired you are because you're doing this in your late 30s as opposed to your 20s. Like, I used my 20s to drink wildly and not have hangovers when you could have been using those, resilient ability to wake up with no problem to cater to a screaming child. But those days are gone now, so I'm tired all the time. Yeah, like
we talked about before, I used mine doing full-time work and full-time grad school and then training for an Ironman. Like, I had a lot more energy. I had a lot more energy, but maybe we're wiser now.
Yeah, definitely. And like you had said, I wasn't prepared to do 50% of the work. And there is a real chance that I would have resented the child. Now I think about it and know that once you have that child, there's something that changes inside of you.
Yeah.
But at the time, the lead up to the process, it would have been like, why am I giving this up? This life is for me. And then, you can't make the calculus that you have when you have a child. But I do think that our society, or certainly when I was going to school, no one was sitting me down and being like, biological clocks are real. There is a real chance that you may struggle. You may go through a period where you lose pregnancies. And I really wish someone had, because I was completely unprepared for how difficult this road would be. And even if somebody had told me, it wouldn't have made it necessarily easier, but I would have not been so shocked at every step along the way.
Well, and as a woman, I thought like, oh, it'll be somewhere between a few months and, 6 to 8 months. And then when we want to get pregnant, we will. So,
yeah, I mean, it's laughable now, right?
That's funny. Uh-huh.
I
remember being worried about stupid things like, well, am I going to be pregnant at that wedding? That's dumb. Yeah. Yeah.
But you just couldn't know. And so I think it's one of those things that I try and have the conversations that I wish people would have had with me, because that's the only thing you can do from learning from this suffering is like, one, be grateful for what you have. which I think it's been easier for us to be grateful. I've known other parents that it came easy to them, and the experience of like being a little mad at your child for crying or for taking away opportunities is just easier because it came easy to you. Thanks for checking out this podcast short. If you like this interview, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit that bell so you always get notified about this podcast. And if you're really interested in conversations like this, you may want to consider joining the Articulate Ventures Network. To find out more, go to network.articulate.ventures.